Hi everyone, we are back.
Hi, we are in London right
London.
now. We are beginning our second leg of this board gaming trip, I suppose.
That's what it is, yeah.
Yeah, so this week we're going to be at Airecon starting this weekend, and starting tomorrow we're going to get on the Airbus for that whole start of the trip.
Yeah, it's kind of like a pub crawl, but for board games.
A board
So
game
we're going to
crawl.
be going to different stops along the way from London all the way up to Harrogate, where the con will start on Friday, and it'll be a 3-day con. And so we're pretty excited. We're looking forward to it.
Yes, and so as of yesterday, when we first arrived here, that ended our first half, which was Dice Tower West. And so this is an episode of Let's Talk Board Games, technically. So we'd like to talk to you about some highlights from the convention. It was a great time. We were finally able to play games with people who watch our channel, and that was probably one of the best, the best parts of it for me. Before we talk about some highlights, we do want to briefly discuss a game that we had played for the first time before going to Dice Tower West. It is a game called Kokopelli. So this is a Stefan Feld. Lots of
Yeah, some rattling going on.
It'll look good when we open it.
Yeah.
But this is a Stefan Feld game, kind of different, especially for Stefan Feld. It's very card-based.
This is a card game.
Yeah.
Primarily
a card game.
In a big box like this.
And so we played it at 3 players at our local convention right before, going on this one. And we were going to do a playthrough of it, but it doesn't seem like it would translate well into video, especially at 2 players.
Yeah, there's an element of this game where you can affect what's going on to your neighbor to the left and your neighbor to the right.
Right.
And in a 2-player game, I don't know. I feel like this one is more suited for 3 and 4 players.
Yeah, and so we played it at 3. It was fun. It's very card-based. Basically, you have a tableau. It's like your village of cards, or where you're going to play your cards to. But you can play your cards to your area or to your neighbor's area.
To the left or the right.
As soon as you play a card down, it kind of breaks the rules of the game. You're trying to close ceremonies by placing, I believe, 3 or 4?
3 or 4, but
4
then
cards in a column.
Some of the abilities can change the criteria for closing out a ceremony or
Yeah.
performing a ceremony to its completion.
Right, and you can only close out ceremonies on your village, but as soon as you do, you get to score points for them. So you're trying to close out your own ceremonies while trying to prevent other players from closing out theirs, essentially is what it is.
Yeah, there is a blocking mechanism in there a little bit where if you play a card to your ceremony, your neighbor is not allowed to play that same ceremony until you have wiped it off of your board. So it's a little bit tactical in that sense there, but it's kind of a race to get the most amount of points.
I had a great time when we were playing it. It's very silly. It's very quick. I think we played it in like half an hour for 3 players. So this is not like his other titles. It's not my favorite Feld, definitely, but I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's good.
It's I enjoyed it.
Yeah,
it's that level.
It's one of those ones like I would play it,
Yeah.
but I don't think like I'm hungering to play it.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. That's Kokopelli. We just kind of wanted to mention that first. As for Dice Tower West, majority or pretty much all of our footage that we're going to be able to show here is going to feature content creators, because we didn't really get permission from the other people.
It's not that they said no, it's just we didn't want to put them in a position.
Yeah. So the first game that I played actually was a 2-player game of innovation, and it was madness. Kellen from Board Game Barrage was the one who taught it to me, and I don't remember the name of the designer. It's a very famous designer.
Carl Chayet.
Thank you.
Yes.
And I believe he also designed Glory to Rome, which is a game that I really, really love. And so this is kind of Glory to Rome-ish, where the cards are multi-use in a way. So this is going to be a really hard game to explain. Just know that it's a card game where you're trying to one-up each other. You're trying to upgrade your technologies. And I believe it's the first to 6 achievements wins or something. But the problem is you can really discard your opponent's stuff, and they're going to be doing it to you. And every time you play a card, it kind of starts its own set of rules or breaks the rules in some way. So it's wild, it's chaotic, and usually I'm not too fond of take that elements or just things that are well, I couldn't have predicted that. But because this game is just that, that is, what you're getting yourself into, that kind of situation. I really liked it.
Okay. Yeah, I've heard it plays more than 2 players,
it
but
does.
Everyone says play it only 2 players.
Yeah, and I don't remember exactly why. Kellen mentioned it. I don't think it's the length. I think it's maybe just the chaos.
The chaos.
It's a little bit more controlled at 2, I imagine. That was the first game that I played. That was Innovation. After that, we kind of joined together again and had lunch with Kellen, and Kellen taught us a game called Scout.
Yeah.
That is a card game that was hot. I mean, everybody was talking about it at PAX Unplugged. It was so hot that you couldn't get it. And so we played it for the first time. Kellen taught it to us, and I had a really hard time wrapping my head around the rules the first like 2 games of it that we played.
Yeah, it's a ladder climbing game. So essentially what you're trying to do is when the person before you plays a card, you have to completely beat it by playing cards of a better combination.
Or more numbers
of cards. Yeah, and so the thing that's interesting about this game is the cards you receive, it's kind of like Bonanza, where when you receive the cards, you are not allowed to shuffle and move things around.
Right.
And so you're kind of stuck with what you have in your hand. Cards are interesting in the fact that they are numbered on 2 different sides.
Yes.
So I could have a card that says 9 when it's face up this way, but at the very beginning of the game, I have the option of turning all my cards face down
to show the
other number
side,
that's on there. So then, I don't know, it makes it kind of wonky and kind of strange at first.
Yeah. And it's not like Bonanza in the sense that you have to pull cards from the sides, or from the one side, I guess. You can pull them, but they just have to be adjacent to each other
in a grouping.
And so there's an option, if you cannot beat the previous hand, you can scout and take one of the cards from the table. They score a point, but you get this new card, and you can choose which side to use, and you can place it in your hand kind of in
wherever
an ideal area.
Yeah,
I really like it. We're probably going to pick that game up at some point. At some point in the night, we were also taught a new Stefan Feld game, actually, which is interesting because we talked about Kokopelli, and now we're switching gears to this older title, just from a couple of years ago.
I think like 2016, maybe.
Yeah, we played with Bart from Spieling With It on Instagram, as well as Daniel the Game Table. Both of them are on Instagram. Wonderful Instagram pages. Check them out if you can. And they taught us the Oracle of Delphi. Delphi? Delphi.
I don't know.
It's basically a pick up and deliver game. It's a pick up and deliver race. And so I thought that was really interesting because there's no points at all. You don't score any points in a Stefan Feld game.
I know, yeah.
Yeah, it's basically everybody has their own set of, I believe,
12 different
tasks.
Yeah.
And
everyone has the same 12 tasks.
Yes.
By the way, yeah.
And you all start on the same part of the board.
Yeah.
And you're rolling dice, and there are 3 dice that you have, and they have different colored faces. And depending on which colored faces, you get to do certain actions. And basically, whoever can complete all 12 of their tasks first is a winner. I felt like it was a combination of both Castles of Burgundy, because of the dice action mechanism, as well as components of Bonfire, just because of the way that you had to pair the symbols with where you're going,
to get
kind
on
of
the
like
board.
the shipping, the pick up and deliver aspect of Bonfire. And we liked it so much that we played it twice. We played it once with those fine people, and then we played it the next day with somebody else as well. And we taught it to them. You know, they taught it to us, we taught it to somebody else.
Right.
And wow, it was really fun.
Yeah,
really
it was
that
fun. We
game.
got crushed the first game because we played against 2 people who knew what they were doing.
And it's a race.
And it's a race. So, you know, I found myself really far behind. And then I was like, okay, at the halfway point, I was like, all right, I know what I need to do. So we got to play this again. So we did end up playing it again the next day, and it went a lot smoother. But that's kind of a sign of a good game. Like, what I was thinking about it after, like, okay, so these are the mistakes I made. I made when I was playing this game. So I know I need to do X, Y, and Z in order to do that, do better in this game. And so I went ahead and did that. And I played a lot better. So
pretty much won. Naveen sought his revenge.
I did, yeah.
Basically. So that was a lot of fun. That's the Oracle of Delphi. And by the way, it's published by TMG, Tasty Mistral Games, who is a publishing company that's no longer producing games. So if you are interested in it, I don't know how difficult it's going to be to get it, but you can probably find it on the secondhand market. Another highlight of ours, at some point in the week, all the days are kind of blurring together now, but another highlight was playing a route with Sam and Kate of Lord of the Board. And so if you're not familiar with their channel, they do strategy guides. They definitely do route coverage. That's one of their primary focus on their channel. And we actually, when we started playing Root and when we started covering Root, we used their videos as references, and we learned from their videos. It kind of helped us, help lead us into the right direction as to how we should play certain of those factions. I played as the Otters, and Naveen played as the Corvids.
The Corvid, because I didn't want to learn a brand new faction. I had played as the Corvids a couple times back when we were filming Root, and I was like, you know what, it's been a long time. By the way, we started playing this game around like 12:30 at night. So I was like, you know what?
Don't make that decision.
Yeah, go ahead. Why don't you play something that you're unfamiliar with? I'll just play something I'm kind of familiar with. That way we can get going faster.
We had this was such a jam-packed weekend. We didn't know when we would be able to get a game in with Sam and Kate. And so we seized the opportunity because we didn't know when we'd be able to see them again. And you have to play a Root. You have to play a Root with them. And it was just such a wonderful experience. I was doing really well for such a long time until everybody realized that I was doing well, and they basically wiped me off the board. And if you've played as the Otters, it's so hard to pick up from that point when you're just gone from the board. And Kate, who wasn't doing as well in the beginning, just like steamrolled towards the end.
Yeah, nobody kind of put her in check, but
Yes.
I feel like we didn't have the combination of characters maybe to be able to like actively like put her in check from
She
the
was
get-go.
sneaky.
So she was sneakily building,
did
building,
great.
building, and then just like as a bowling ball just kind of rolled through us all.
Yeah.
Kate, how do you feel? I didn't win. I'm gonna be 1 point off.
No.
Kate won, by
Well
the
done.
way.
Yeah.
Deservedly so. So, but it was so much fun getting to play with them and getting to experience a game with them finally, right? We also played Hansa, Teutonica, and Calimala, both of which we'd played before. And we got to play with Reina of 1 Minute Board Games on TikTok, as well as Benita and Casey. And Casey's Brain in a Jar, and they're both on TikTok, as well as they primarily stream on Twitch.
Yeah.
And it was really fun playing Hansa Teutonica at 5. If you're familiar with Hansa Teutonica, that's kind of a Euro game that's better at higher player
I
counts.
think
in our
that's my
opinion.
favorite player count. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've played it at 4, but I think 5 is the most that
Yes.
people keep each other in
The
check.
most fun.
Yes.
And Calimala is a game that we just don't get to play because it's a minimum 3 players.
It's 3 to
So-
5, but I think the only player count is 4 for me.
I felt like I wasn't doing well for a good part of it, as I always do in that game. That game, I cannot wrap my head around it, but I actually didn't do too bad. I got second.
Second place, yeah.
I believe Reina won, right?
She did. She
Yeah.
was able to get scoring.
Watch out for Reina. She's
She
and Benita, actually.
had good foresight in seeing every single scoring criteria
Yeah.
and made sure she got just some sort of points
Yeah.
at all times.
Yes. And one of the last games that we were able to play was Animal Kingdoms. We introduced it to Amy from Thinker Themer, as well as Dwayne from Blackboard Gaming. And that was fun.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite games. It was in my top 50. It's basically an area control card game where you're trying to set yourself up for later rounds where
Yeah.
the points get sweeter. And I was not able to set myself up
Yeah, maybe-
anywhere.
maybe
I got
got pummeled.
wiped. I got completely pummeled. I think I barely scored 10 and the winner scored almost 50.
He was like halfway through the game, he was pleading. He was like, please, please, I'm so behind. Just give
Yeah.
me something. But otherwise, we do have a few shout outs to give. Shout out to that large group of lovely people. I believe they're Joey's. I believe they were there for Thinker Themer, but they shared their time with us and they taught us Pit, as well as Finger Guns at High Noon. I think that's what it's called.
I think something like that, yeah.
Yeah, Pit. Yeah, okay. So first of all, Pit. That is a game from like 1900 something.
1903,
And
according
it's
to
like
BGG.
a stock market game. They've been trying to get us to play it for a few days, and finally we played it the very last night.
Yeah.
And it was so much fun. Everybody has a hand of cards. It's a different combination of different like crops or goods. Like there's corn and
Yeah, different subsidies. There's like corn, rye, wheat, barley.
yeah.
Different things like that, and you have 9 cards in your hand. I think it's a 6-player only game. They were very adamant about 6 players, so
Okay.
I don't really know. But you basically have a hand of cards that are a different combination of these, and your goal to win the game is to basically collect an entire set of any one of these types of products.
Yes.
And so the only thing you can do during the game is it's a real-time kind of like action-packed game where you're just
Like the
going to
stock market, you're
like the stock
trading.
market. Yeah, you're just going to take like type cards that are in your hand and just start shouting out 2, 2, 2, 3, 3.
Yeah, if I have a pair and I
Yeah.
want to trade out a pair with somebody to try to get the actual good that I need to
Yep.
collect, I'm going to say 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. And then if Naveen is also trying to trade in 2, then we might lock in
might
eyes and then
switch.
swap.
Yep.
Or 3, 3, 3. And you're basically just doing that the entire time until somebody has their full set. They ring the bell and they're the winner.
Yeah, it's a
So-
complete set collection game, kind of negotiating game,
Yeah.
but not really because you're just saying numbers out there and face down cards. I think that's really
I
fun.
thought that was
Yeah.
really fun. Restoration games, they gotta bring that back. We also played Finger Guns at High Noon, which is a very silly shoot 'em.
Kind of like in the vein of Cash and Guns.
Yeah,
a little
except
bit.
you're using your fingers. There's
Yeah.
different like combinations of finger positions that
Hand
you
signals,
do.
yeah.
That will there's like the dynamite, and then you can make your adjacent partners lose health, and you're basically trying to get everybody to lose all their health. And that was really fun, especially at the time of night. Hilarious. So if any of you who we played with are watching this, thank you so much for sharing your time with us because we had a really great time. Also, shout out to every single person throughout the entire weekend who offered to teach us Arc Nova. Oh my
yeah.
gosh, we were offered Arc Nova probably like at least four times a day.
It was the game that everybody was talking about at this con, for sure.
But also everybody was like, be prepared because if you play a 4-player game, it's going to be maybe like 6 hours, and we were like, I don't know if we can dedicate that much time at a convention.
It was a lot of like people wanting to play like a 3 to 4 player game, and we heard as a learning game, it's going to take 4 to 6 hours.
Yeah.
It's hard at a convention to dedicate that kind of time.
time. So we ended up not even playing it.
Yeah.
But you know what? We are going to cover it when we get home, and we're going to dedicate it to all of you who offered to teach it to us. So thank you so much. Also, shout out to all the millions of people who we played Parade with.
Yeah.
We brought Parade, and it was just the easiest game to get out and teach to 6 people.
6 people, yeah.
So I think the last time we played it was with Ilya and Tyler of Covray Studios, as well as Jeff and Jamie from Foster the Meeple, who is also Team Vending Machine Cake.
Yes.
The Rio had a vending machine that just had slices of large pieces of cake, and all weekend we were trying to get it. It was like us.
We wanted
6.
to do it all together. We
Yes,
didn't want us
we wanted
to
to do it
individually get
together.
cake, so we wanted to experience this vending machine cake. It's
Yeah.
like this really nice display.
Yeah.
It plays like
really
this loud. Music whenever you buy cake, like almost like a slot machine, like you're winning
Yeah.
something.
And we were all worried that we would not make it, that we would just go through the entire weekend and not get this cake and not experience it. So we finally did it the last night. There was somebody behind us who might have been inebriated who was cheering us on while we were getting the cake. And it was just so funny. And so thank you to you for those hilarious, such a great time.
And if you want to know, the cake was okay.
I thought it was pretty good
was
for
okay.
being in a vending machine. It was
For
nice
being in a
and
vending
moist,
machine, yeah, sure.
fudgy.
Yeah.
And last but not least, just a big thank you to everybody who came up and said hi. It's pretty obvious now to us that we are definitely the Vital Lacerda channel, because everybody references Vital Lacerda. And apologies to anybody who we had to say no to in regards to playing a Vital Lacerda game at the convention. I mean, at this point, we should just start a Vital Lacerda con, right?
Yeah, maybe.
Just like,
small one.
I mean, that would probably be a nightmare to put together. But if somebody out there is willing to put together a Lacerda con, we will be there. And now we are looking forward to Airecon.
Yeah, we'll probably do another video like this post
Yeah.
the Aircon, probably when we get back home.
Probably when we get back home, and we'll talk about our experience and as well as all the games that we played. So thank you so much for watching, and we will see you later.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.